Here we go. This is the 110cc motor kit I got from eBay. Comes with the motor, chain, carburetor, sprocket, hardware, throttle cable, clutch cable, gas tank. What else we got? The muffler, chain guard, magneto, chain tensioner, additional engine mounting hardware. I put some of it together already. All this stuff was individually packaged. The gas cutoff valve, gas line, fuel filter, the clutch, hand control, and cable. I put that together. It was mostly everything was taken apart. And all the mounting hardware for the gas tank, which I pre-assembled. So, as you can tell, I have everything. And this kit is for a boy's bike, or generally a boy's beach cruiser bike, or a boy's mountain bike. But I'm putting it on a girl's mountain bike because that's all I have. See? As you can see, I already started taking the back tire apart, because you do need to take the back tire apart to put the rear hub assembly on, which is this. And I had already put it on, and then I realized, oh, I have to film this, so I had to take it back off just so I could show you guys how I do assemble it. But I just wanted you guys to see the whole complete package in case you wanted to get one for yourself. I only spent $138 on the whole kit shipped to my door. So I got everything I need to get this project underway. Except for some of the tools. I don't really have all the correct tools, so I'm going to be doing it backyard style with a pair of ice grips and adjustable wrenches. And I know some of you might say, it's not a good idea, but it's all I have to work with right now, so I'm going to film this using those tools and showing you that it can't be done with those tools. If you have the correct tools, it's better, but I don't at the moment, so this is what I'm working with. So bear with me, because I don't have a hammer stand and I'm working off my phone, so this is going to have to be figured out. I don't know exactly how I'm going to be able to stand this up, but I'm going to film everything that I do so you guys can see the full installation. I'm just in the living room doing this so you guys can see how easy it is to do, and you guys do it yourself. You can use this video as a reference if you need to. So, on that note, I'm going to start assembling it, and I'm going to try and post the camera up so you can see me. Now, the first thing I did when I got it was I installed the spark plug right here, and I tightened it down. They give you a spark plug wrench that you just put a screwdriver in to tighten, and that's what I used to tighten the spark plug up, because I was originally going to see if it fit here, but it doesn't. The bike sits that way, that's right side up, so the motor is going to go in this location right here. Normally it would be in this location right here, but it's too small, so I'm going to attempt to put it in this location. Hopefully everything will line up, the chain will work, and I shouldn't have any problems. So, on that note, I'm going to try and see if I can set this up so you guys can see how this works. Okay. So, I'm going to start by assembling the rear hub assembly, which is these two pieces, these two rubber pieces right here. One of them you're going to have to put a cut in, like that, because it's got to go on the inside of the tire. So, you have to fit it like this. go around, and you have to fit it in the middle like that, so that way it's even on the tire when you go to bolt the sprocket up. And then you put the other one, which is this one, that you don't cut both of them, only cut one, and cut it in between the holes. Don't cut it directly on the hole, cut it in between the hole, okay? Because when you go to tighten it down, if you cut it in a hole, it's not going to tighten it down right, and the sprocket's going to do this as you're going down the road, and then the chain's going to pop off, and then you're going to think it's a piece of junk, and you're going to hate it forever, and you're going to give people like me a bad review. So that's how you want to do it. You want to have at least one screw in every kind of triangle. You're not going to get them all lined up. Some are going to be on the inside, some are going to be outside, but you want to get centered up as best you can, and you want to try and at least get at least a couple screws in between the spokes. That's how it's designed. So you want to try and assemble it the best way it was designed. So the sprocket, which is this piece right here, was kind of confusing for me at first, because if you look at it, the sprocket part is offset. Okay, it's not one whole flat disc. It's got a little offset to it. So what you want to do is you want to set up the sprocket teeth facing the inside of the tire. Now what I mean by that is you want this little rib right here facing outside. So okay, let me see if I can tell you better. You want the teeth closer to the rim, the spokes, and the outside, the inside of the sprocket closer to the frame, so that way when you do assemble it, the chain rides further away from the frame than this way. I mean, when you get yours and you start seeing it, put one bolt in like this, one bolt in like that, get one washer, one flat washer, and one lock washer, and one nut, okay, and one of these plates. You get 3 of these plates, okay. You take all this hardware that I just said, okay, and you start assembling it. You put your rubber spacer on first, okay, then you come over to your tire and you position the first hole so it's in between that triangle right there, and then you put the sprocket and the screw through the inner spacer, and then you make sure the sprocket is centered on the hub, or on the rim, however you want to call it. I call it the hub. Then you take your spacer, you stick that in there, okay, kind of holding everything together with one hand. Go with your washer. This is kind of tight, but I got this whole thing together already. I just took it apart so I can show you guys how to assemble it. Because when I first got it, I had to watch a couple of videos till I realized how it went, and that's why I'm trying to help you guys out. So you do washer, lock washer, lock nut, and just hand tighten it down so you can't tighten it down anymore. That just keeps it so it's in place. Okay, that's how it'll look. All right, and then what you do is once you got that one installed, then you move to your next one. You take your bolt like this, next hole, and you try to get it as close. This one you're gonna line up like that. not going to get them all. You will not get them all, because the amount of spokes and the number of bolts that you have, it's offset, so you're not going to get every one of them. But 1 second, I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. I just want to get it a little, I just want to get it all on there, so that way you can see what it looks like. This is the most time consuming part of this project that I think, because you have to get everything assembled. And if you don't get everything assembled the correct way, it ain't gonna work. You want to make sure that the sprocket is on that hub, because if it's not, you're gonna have a hard time getting everything to line up. You just keep on doing the same thing. Sprocket, washer, lock nut, all the way around till you get them all on there. And once you get them all on there, you have to tighten them down evenly, because being that there's rubber used to help balance out to attach the sprocket to the wheel, it flexes, so you have to compensate for that flex. And then once you get the first 3 in, you grab another metal, what would you call this? Just a plate. That's what I call it. Just a plate that's cut to fit. And the same thing. Slide the bolt through till it comes out the other side. Washer. Lock washer. Lock nut. And the whole time you're doing this, even though you have the rest of them installed, you still have to hold everything together, because until you get it tightened down, it's going to move. So in order to get the next bolt in, you have to hold it together, otherwise it's just not going to work. And then you have to rotate the wheel, because it just makes it that much easier than trying to work upside down. And like I said, you just keep on pushing through. You're going to have to wiggle it around a little bit, because as you're assembling it, it's not going to stay completely center and square on the hub until you get it tightened down. So you're going to have to hold it while you're assembling it. That's why I said this is the most time consuming part, and it's kind of tedious, because you have to squeeze your fingers in behind the spokes, and there isn't a whole heck of a lot of room in here. So I would definitely recommend doing this project inside, being whether you have a garage to work out of, or like a living room if your parents will allow it. Maybe put down some sheets of cardboard or some plastic. That's what I'm using, a piece of plastic. Like I said, you just want to rotate the tire a little bit, and get your next bolt in there, push it all the way through. Same procedure. Washer, lock washer, nut, and all this, everything that you need. Oops, I dropped that one. Everything that you need for this project is included in the kit, so you really don't have to go out and buy anything unless there's extra things that you want to put on it that aren't included. Lights, mirrors, whatever, what have you. So people have different wants and needs, and when you're doing this, lock the tire up. also want to try and make sure that you put this plate in between, or this plate should cover where you had to cut the rubber spacer. So just keep that in mind. You don't want that cut to be on the end of that plate, because that just is giving it's just, you'll see, it's just something that you don't want to do for assembly purposes. Well, let me just say, you just keep on going all the way around. Washer, lock washer, nut. For somebody that's not really mechanically inclined, this is going to be the most time consuming and probably difficult part of the whole project. And if need be, I would say have a parent or guardian help with installation of this part, just because more than one eye is better. Me, I do this kind of stuff, so this isn't something that I need help from somebody else to do. I can assemble this whole entire project by myself. I have experience with automotive, so that also helps, but it's pretty self-explanatory. I never got instructions with this kit. The first thing I looked for when I opened it, and there was no literature, no CD, no nothing. So there's no instructions at all. I don't know if the kits that you guys might buy might come with instructions. I doubt it, but it's also pretty kind of self-explanatory. There's only like the motor, for instance, you can only go a certain couple of spots. You know, the throttle grip obviously goes on the handlebars. The carburetor obviously goes on the motor. The exhaust pipe obviously goes on the motor. So it's not like, you know, you can screw it up. I mean, if you really aren't mechanically inclined or have like really hardly any type of technical experience, then you might have a little problem installation wise, but that's why I say have somebody help you. 2 lines at this project is definitely overkill. The average person, I think, would have no problem assembling this. But that's what it looks like with the hub attached. Okay, has a little bit of movement because it's still loose. I don't have anything tying down. I'm not going to tighten it down yet. Until everything is completely installed. And then I'm going to go ahead and tighten it down, because I don't want to tighten it down and then have to go back and loosen it up because something doesn't line up. So, for now, keeping everything loose, just installing it. That's what it looks like, though. I'll show you guys now so you can see. See what I mean? See how the sprocket is offset a little bit. When I assemble it and put it on the frame, you're gonna see how close the sprocket is to the frame up here, and that's why they offset it. And when I originally had it on, I put the sprocket on the other way, and then I spun the tire once it was on there, and I can see, even with the sprocket loose, I could see it really hitting. And then I turned it around and reinstalled it, and then I can see it was just far enough away with the chain on that it won't touch the frame over here. So you want to make sure of that. But this is the hub assembly. That's how it's held on. See what I mean? So you have your brake here, but the end of the plate is over here. You don't want the plate and the brake being next to each other. You want it offset like that. That's what I was talking about. This way, when you clamp it down, you don't have a big gaping spot right there, because you will have a gap if they're not aligned like that. So, but that's generally how the hub assembly is to be installed, just like that. So, like I said, I'm not going to tighten it down right now because I have other things I have to install. So I just wanted to give you guys a good shot so you can see for yourselves how it's installed. That's pretty much how it should look on your bicycle once you have it all installed. And then I'll give you another shot when it's tightened down so you can see that. But that's how you want to have it centered. That hole is pretty much almost a little, I would say, an eighth bigger than that hub. So it fits almost perfectly on there with a little bit of room to move it around for adjustment. But that's how it's installed. So, okay. Now, I'm going to set this back up again. So, oops. I just tripped over my box of parts because I don't have the correct stuff to do this. Okay, so now I'm going to reassemble the back tire back on the frame like it was. And it's locked up somewhere. Where is it locked up? The brakes? Something's. Oh, it's the kickstand. There we go. There we go. I did say I was using an adjustable wrench, so I am using an adjustable wrench to tighten everything down because I do not have access to a socket wrenches, sockets, or a ratchet. I mean, I do, but I just don't have the sizes, so adjustable wrench will work good just for hand tightening down these bolts. Can you guys see me okay? Yeah, it looks like it. Okay. Just making sure. So. I mean, with the correct tools, with like impact sockets and impact wrenches, this would be so much quicker. I mean, you guys should have this completely installed and riding up and down the street in less than a half hour. Especially with 2 people on it. Should take you no longer than a half hour. And this is a 2-cycle kit. It's not a 4-cycle. So, but that's the gist of it. As you can see, it's moving a little bit because it's not centered, it's not tight, but that's how it'll look. Okay. So now we are going to go and start installing the motor. Now the motor, like I said before, I had just put the spark plug in, that was it. I didn't do anything else, so you have to take off these mounting kit, this mounting hardware, which is the same thing as the sprocket. It's a lock washer, flat washer, lock washer, and a nut for all 4 mounting bolts. See? Okay, that's all it is. Really, really easy. It's not rocket science by no means. And that's all you do. And they say that certain bikes will require like rubber anti-vibration motor mounts. I, however, did not need that. That's for like the beach cruiser bikes, which I don't have. So once you have all this hardware removed, and these, one's bigger than the other, as you can see. So you can't swap them or mismatch them. So if you're trying to put one on, and it's too big or not or something, switch it with the other one, because only one will go on for each side. So now I'm going to start installing the motor. As I said before, I'm not tightening it down, just hand tightening it. And now the bike is upside down, so it's going to look a little awkward the way I'm installing it. So I'm only doing it like this because it's easy to hold the bike. So pretty much how it's going to go, just like that. And bring the hardware close enough to me though. Hopefully the bike doesn't fall on me. You guys are probably laughing at me right now. That's okay. And you just do flat washer, lock washer, nut. That's it. Just hand tighten it. Go as tight as your hands can get it. And that's it for now. And then that's just one bolt. You only need one for now. And then I have this cable on the bottom right here. So you don't want to pinch that. Whatever you do, don't pinch that, because that cable is it's to my back brakes. To yours, it might be different, but it's to my back brakes, so I don't want to crimp that, because if I crimp that, I won't have any back brakes. So you just lift the cable up and put this other U-bolt or bracket under it, and then I let go of the cable. And then I lift the motor up, put the bolts in, and then same thing. Flat washer, lock washer, and then nut. Not that nut. That nut. And just screw it all the way down until I can't get it anymore. And that's it. That's where the motor is gonna sit. It's gonna go move back and forth, sway like this. It's only because I don't have it tight right now. But it's not gonna fall off. And then you put the other hardware in. And tighten it down. I will say that when you're assembling this, you're gonna have to move things around to get them tighter. You'll move it, it'll get loose. You tighten it up, you move it around some more, it'll loosen up. Tighten around, you tighten it down some more. And what that's gonna do is just you're gonna feel the solidness. Excuse me for my lack of language, but you're gonna notice that it's more solid. You're not gonna feel anything loose. And again, I didn't have the hardware close enough to me. And this is the last one. So, lock washer, flat washer, lock washer, nut. These aren't lock nuts, which I'm surprised, because they hold the motor on. So I'm really surprised that they're not lock nuts like everything else is, but I'm not complaining. What do you want? I guess they really don't care if the motor falls off. They'd rather have the sprocket, which is locked down by the nut. They don't want the sprocket to come free, but they don't care about the motor. I don't know. So you just want to get everything as tight as you can with your hands. Again, like I said, I'm not tightening anything down until the very end, and that's going to be in the next episode, because I don't have the tools, and I'm not using a pair of vice grips or a pair of adjustable wrenches to torque everything down, because it's going to slip, it's going to strip. I'm not having any of that, so I'm just going to wait, and probably in the next episode or video I will go over torquing down and final adjustments before I end this episode, or before I start writing it. So just wanted to put that out there. Now, for the chain comes with the master link installed. So you're gonna have, unless yours doesn't, which I highly doubt that yours will. Actually, no. You know what? Yeah, I'll start off with the chain. Well, I'll do the carburetor. This is the carburetor. Okay, comes just like this, completely installed. Only thing you have to do, stick it on. That's it. Carburetor's on. There's a little bolt right here that you do have to tighten, but like I said, I'm not tightening anything down yet. So that's all you have to do for now. Later on, when I go to install the throttle cable, then I can show you how to install it on the slide, but that's later on. Right now, I want to show you how to install the chain, how to remove the master link, and properly reinstall the master link with the chain on the bike. So, that's what we're going to do now. Bear with me 1 second. I have to get a pair of needle nose pliers. Hold on 1 second. Okay, I'm back. Simple needle nose pliers will take the master link apart. It's very simple. For those of you that don't know what a master link is, it's just literally a link of chain that has a lock and a link and a plate. That's what I call it. But all you do, it's hard to see, but you just push one corner of the master link out, one corner of the clip out. Sometimes they come off easy, other times they're a pain in the butt. I think this one's gonna be a pain in the butt. Yeah, this one's gonna be a pain in the butt. Because it's also new. But a lot of you guys are probably saying there's nothing to do with it. It's the installer. Yeah, well, like I said at the beginning of this video, I don't have the correct tools for this job. So I'm working with what I have.